Rappin with ReefBum is sponsored by Polo Reef and Champion Lighting and Supply. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. My name is Keith, and I'm joined once again by my co-host, Dong. Dong, how you doing, man, tonight?
Very good, very good. Yeah, I want to show you this.
Oh, that's pretty fancy.
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
Laser engraved with my logo on the cup. It actually came from Jim Graham.
Ooh,
yeah, Telegram.
Yeah, that is a beautiful gift. And you said tell everybody how he did that for you.
Oh, he actually engraved this cup in the hotel room. He has that laser machine in his car.
It's a mobile laser machine, man.
Yep.
Hopefully he had room for the luggage in the car there. I mean, geez, that's I don't know. Well, this is a unique show there, Dong, for several reasons. One, because I'm doing this on the road for the first time in over 200 episodes. So we already had a little hiccup at the beginning. We were it was you and I at the beginning, not the intro, but we didn't say any bad things, so that's okay. Nope. No harm, no foul. But yeah, hopefully everybody can see and hear me fine. I am in Cape Cod. I'm on a fishing trip. And so, yeah, keeping the fingers crossed that we don't have any technical snafus. But this is really cool, Dong. We have four different hobbyists on the show. We've got James, Neil, Alex, and Adam. They're going to all appear individually. So we're going to troubleshoot some issues they're having with their tanks. This is going to be a lot of fun. Dong's going to have all the answers. So their dreams will be fulfilled, and they will, after this live stream, all the reef tanking issues will go away. Gone. Done. Not too much pressure on you, Dong. But before we bring these guys on, we're going to bring them on individually, if I didn't mention that before. I want to thank our sponsors for supporting this live stream. Polo Reef, make sure to check out the latest videos from Polo Reef on YouTube. The rebuild of the 17,000-gallon reef keeps moving forward, and the team has been putting in some serious work. Patty and Michelle are back in the water, placing new corals from Top Shelf Aquatics, rebuilding parts of the reef, moving colonies around, and trying to bring the vision for the tank back to life one piece at a time. Of course, it wouldn't be Polo Reef without a few surprises along the way. The team runs into equipment issues, tracks down pests, and even has to deal with a leak and flooding situation. Oh my. That turns into another unexpected challenge. If you enjoy seeing what really goes on behind the scenes of a large reef systems, these are definitely episodes you don't want to miss. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to @Polo Reef on YouTube so you don't miss any of the new videos when they drop. Our other sponsor, Champion Lighting and Supply. Todd, thanks for being a sponsor. Great time at Reef Retreat. Todd was there, and a whole bunch of other people were there as well. Todd was one of the sponsors of Reef Retreat. When that registration goes up for next year, I'm assuming it will be another Reef Retreat. People pounce on it. It's so worth it. It's just it's great in terms of the camaraderie and the networking you can do, and also the knowledge you can gain through these lectures. But in terms of Champion Lighting and Supply, I want to point out that the Fiji Live Rock is back. Yes, wild harvested live rock is back. Champion Lighting now offers cured Pucani, branch, and shelf rock from Fiji, as well as cured Indo live rock. Use coupon code ReefBum and get 15% off your next rock purchase. Visit championlighting.com to order. All right, let's bring on our first reefer, and that would be Alex. How you doing, man?
I'm well. It's really great to be on with you guys. I feel like you guys are legends in the game, so I'm excited to be here.
Well, you know, we just try to be real and talk about our experiences, and if that kind of transfer of knowledge, us putting it out there, can help people, that's awesome. So we're going to kind of like try to get into the nitty gritty here with all you guys. And Alex, man, why don't you give us a quick overview of the issues that you're running into, and you know, what you've been trying to do to rectify those issues, and maybe a quick overview of your system. And if you can also give us a, if you could flip that camera around and show the tank, that would help
Yeah.
as well.
No,
So go for it, man.
absolutely. Yeah, I actually got into this hobby 2 years ago. You know, it actually was seeded, you know, and planted earlier. But a buddy of mine, you know, had a reef tank years back, and I was fascinated by it. So I always knew eventually I wanted one, and it was just a matter of when. So you fast forward, my wife and I, you know, first had our daughter. She's now 4, and we were thinking about getting a pet. So when I actually went to the exotic pet store and then realized quickly that wasn't the move. So we ended up actually starting out with the simple beta. So my first year in the hobby was actually freshwater. We went from a 5-gallon to a 20-gallon. And then eventually I walked into my local fish store and made the jump, you know, without knowing much. And I bought an all-in-one 40-gallon. So I got an aqua top cube. I literally started from the ground up. You know, I was lucky to connect with some really good people early. You know, my guy Julian at Absolute Fish in Clifton, my local fish shop. That made a huge, you know, difference early. And then as I got more into the hobby, met some other great people. My guy Rich, you know, Jackson's Reef, he's out of New Jersey. He's been very instrumental on the SPS guidance and troubleshooting. So I started out as a mixed reef, but after the first year, I really fell in love with SPS. So I got to know more hobbyists and saw some incredible acro systems, and that really pushed me to go into more SPS dominant. Now the tank is basically a hybrid frag system, right? Bridging the gap till I jump into that bigger system. So I think one of the things I definitely demystified is that even with the smaller tank, you can still maintain some real stability if you stay disciplined and testing the ICP work. You know, to switch gears, I think my tank is a 40 gallons, an aqua top. It's an all-in-one. As far as hardware, I run a Toonsy skimmer, Aqua UV, 15-watt sterilizer. I got an XR Radion Gen 6 paired with 2 12-inch blade grow bars, and then Toonsy auto topper. And then as far as flow, I actually just recently added the AI Orbit 2, and I have 2 Nero 3s. Originally, I was just running 2 Nero 3s across the top from each other, but my scape and as the corals grew, it started choking out the lower flow, which I think is leading to some of the problems, which we'll get into. But I'm fully manual. I actually don't do any auto dosing besides the auto top off. And then I test out phosphate and nitrate with Hannah, calcium, magnesium with sulfur, and then I send out modern reef ICP tests. The lighting, you know, I'm getting about 350, 400 par at the top of the tank. You know, I'm around 200 par at the lower ridge. You know, one of the things I've learned, you know, while the XR15 has been really solid, I do feel like it lacks a little bit of that penetration for an SPA dominant system, really kind of getting lower into the tank. So even with the 2 blades supporting it, I think if I could go back, I probably would have went with that XR30, right, instead of the 15. Not because the 15 is bad. I just think because the extra punch and spread would have really helped me drive more consistent par lower in the tank. So that said, I mean, I made the setup work. You know, the par distribution I'm getting right now is still very workable for the acros. And, you know, I just been intentional about the placement, you know. I would say, like, just livestock fish wise, you know, I keep it pretty balanced, right? I got, you know, yellow tang, a mystery wrasse, Molinarius wrasse, 2 ocellaris clowns, frostbite bullet. I think another one's called the Da Vinci, plus a Midas blending, and then an Australian stripey. But the majority of them really serve a purpose for cleaning, right? I got a biscuit star in there. Honestly, I just thought it was a nice aesthetic touch. And then for cleanup crew, really snails only at this point since I'm SPS heavy, right? So Trochus, Nasarius, bumblebees. I got some Asteria. You know, I like to run interceptor quarterly, so it keeps, you know, things simple, and I think that's what's best for me. Rather than taking each crab out individually. I think just I could dig into some of the other stuff, but I think the reality is some of the biggest things that I've been dealing with, obviously, as I've kind of got to a place where you get the stability down. I feel the pests become really this outlier that, you know, for really an SPS system, right? So I've already dealt with red bugs already, and I'm just curious, like, what's your philosophy on pest overall? Like any prevention, early detection, or any other treatment?
Go ahead, Don.
Okay, so you mentioned Modern Reef, right? Are you follow the Modern Reef dosing method?
So I kind of follow it, but just passively, right? I think I do trace some minors, really just manganese, and then I do kind of like a cocktail through Blueprint. And
Okay.
but as far as like following it and doing Modern Reef, I haven't taken that jump yet. It's something that I really want to do though.
Hey, Alex, I got a question for you. I guess, Don, we could just volley back and forth there. So you said you treated for red bugs. Did you use Interceptor?
Yeah, I use Interceptor. I actually used a product called Debug through one of my local hobbyist buddies. Essentially, the main compound is that Interceptor. But that was exactly what I used.
How long ago was that treatment?
So originally I did it, back in February. That was when I first saw it. I started looking at the tank and I was like, what are these little things, right? And then I was like, shoot, I think they're red bugs. So I solved it. I dosed it. I did one clean dose and I saw, immediately polyp extension and everything kind of cleared up. But when I show you my tank, you'll see I kind of have it packed out. I mean, there's mini colonies, a lot of frags. But as I was adding, I was like, let me wait. I'll do it again. So recently I just started, the protocol again, as I saw things just like kind of tighten up. I mean, even had a Ghani in there that just was like looking compressed. And then after a day of doing it, everything kind of came to life. The polyps started, coming out. So I'm going to look to do that probably in another 10 days from now and then run it maybe 3 more times.
Yeah, I would just say that I think if you're going to do the Interceptor thing, it pays to do it maybe like every 3 or 4 months because these things can come back. There is a certain bug that is pretty resilient. I mean, it also depends on the strength that you use. Did you follow the typical dosage, or did you go 2 times? Did you go 4 times? Did you go 8 times?
Yeah, I mean, I just did some back of the envelope math, and I think I came to a place of like, half of ml. So I think I did a little heavy dose, but for my system, the equivalent was like 0.06 this time around. So I'll probably end up doing it again.
One thing that I learned is that the Interceptor, and I got this from Joe Aiulo at Long Island Aquarium. He basically had learned that Interceptor can precipitate out when you add it to a tank. And so what he told me to do was to add some ethanol, grain alcohol, to the mixture to prevent it from precipitating out. And so if it precipitates out, then it's going to be certainly a lot less potent than it would normally be. So I usually use the 2 times the recommended amount of Interceptor, and I have now used the grain alcohol to mix that in, and I think I'm on a every 4-month regime to battle them. But Dong, I'd be curious to hear what you have to say in terms of just what Alex has described. I mean, do we think it's solely a pest thing? Do we think there's some chemistry going on? I think the other thing that I always kind of hesitate when I hear people say they use GFO. GFO is great for removing phosphates, but it could also bind other valuable trace elements. So, I mean, that's possibly going on. But what do you think, Dong?
So that when you add the Interceptor, so are you using powder, the straight chemical, or you crush up a doggy pill?
So it's actually past that. It's already in the liquid form, right? So I'm adding it from a liquid sense already.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
So I've kind of skipped that part essentially. And I know
maybe you don't need.
So
yeah, that's. Where do you get that? So do you see the red bug come back?
Visibly, I didn't see them, right?
Okay.
I might have, I kind of sensed that they were there, but I could just see that the polyps were just struggling, right? Something was off on, the majority of the frags. And so, I mean, immediately I did it and they bounced back. So I'm excited to run it again.
And does the polyp actually retract it back after several days? Or they always...
As of now, no. As of now, no. But what I've noticed, because I dosed that originally in February and I waited, I knew that I was going to add some more frags. But now since, I think I'm at a good place. I want to run that, right? As I put some new things in. So it's been 10 days approximately. I'm actually going to dose again tonight. And I've noticed that everything still looks a little fresh, like looks happy right now.
Good. Because that the interceptor, I don't think they can catch the eggs, right, Keith? So they only effective to the bug, the already hatched.
Do red bugs? Do parasitic copepods? I guess they lay eggs. Is that what you're saying, Don?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to. I don't know. I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly.
So
what. If anybody knows that question, answer that question out there. Do parasitic copepods lay eggs?
So they basically there's more than the parasitic copepod get affected in your reef tank. When you put in an interceptor, you basically wipe out a lot of things in there, the little critters. So normally that if you want to do an interceptor treatment, so I will follow up with within months to hit it again, just in case that anything that escape the treatment. So for example, when you some of them may hiding in places that the flow doesn't actually carry the medication over there, and also that after you dose in interceptor, how long do you let them stay in the water column before you add activated carbon or anything to remove the medicine out of the water, or you actually don't do that at all?
So that's a good question.
Let it ride.
And I think there's some science behind that, because originally I thought that, all right, now I have to throw GFO in there, or a carbon rather, to extract that out. But the reality was I've now left it in there because I've noticed that it doesn't really impact anything. And you mentioned evaporation of this substance. I had the mindset and was guided like, just keep it in, and then by the time the water change comes, I do weekly water change, about 10 gallons a week. That kind of cleans it. And then so tonight I'll do it again, and I'll probably do it 3 more times, and then I'll wait a quarter and see what's up.
So that means that right now you don't have a red bug issue at all.
I think I whacked them.
Okay.
From what I could see now, right? And maybe I had a mild case because I did run that treatment, but something was a little off. It was weird. The Gagne that I had, it just closed up out of nowhere. And I was like, all right, there's something definitely going on. I saw a lot of the SPS kind of contract as well. And then after doing that, something changed, because the Gagne is now puffed back up again. And I've had that for like over a year now. So
did you notice any
all good?
Yeah, I think so. The process is working, right? I just think, it goes back to my initial thought. I think once you get the stability down, as an early reefer, you have these outliers that really kind of come into play, like pest, right? So, I've dealt with the red bugs. But do you guys have any overall kind of philosophy, like on a go forward cadence that you run? I think obviously this is something good to do on a quarterly basis, but is there anything else or any other bugs that and can identify that essentially come in to play fairly often?
So in theory, that there's really no bug-free reef tank, because there's will be all sorts of different kind of parasite, all sorts of different kind of thing but that's part of the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So when you knock down, actually the thing is that since you already solved the problem, I will not actually actively do any prophylactic treatment. That's just my personal opinion, because that's if you don't see a symptom, there's no reason to treat something. And when you don't see a symptom, your polyps are happy, coral happy, just be happy. And that's a hobby, right? So right now you see your corals happy, and then that you should be very happy about it. So that there's really not much thing else that. Go ahead.
Alex, can you show us the tank? And you do have a sump, right? Or no?
No. So if you remember, it's an all-in-one. On there. It's an all-in-one system.
The one thing I will say about a 40-gallon tank without a sump is and John Wright is saying this. It's very tough to try to keep that delicate, balanced ecosystem when you have that low of a volume of water. When you're doing a bunch of mixed reef corals, including acropora in there, right? So it's not easy. And so it's an all-in-one reef, and that's got a skimmer in the back or something. Is that how it works?
Yeah. So I basically have the tune skimmer sitting in there, then the UV, and then my ATO is on the side, and then you have the one radion and the two blades.
I mean, I'm
So
not gonna bash the setup there in terms of the manufacturer and all that stuff, but I think one of my pieces of advice would be to potentially add a sump to that tank, or even invest in a larger reef tank, just to give you a more water volume. If you have a sump, then you could use a more robust protein skimmer. You would I'm assuming that there's like some activated carbon and some GFO cartridges that you have in the back of that all-in-one reef, right?
yeah, so
So
that's a good point. Originally, I was running into some phosphate problems, right? I was never really high. I think my band was always been like 0.03 to 0.28. I think my band is a little bit tighter now. It's like 0.08, call it to point, maybe 11, 12, right? But I was using GFO, but then I don't know. I think the biome just like activated itself, and I was almost like in a place where I was dropping, right? And maybe it was a combination of just my corals, that stability kind of kicking in. But I don't run any GFO, and I don't run any carbon. Just filter. I only use the UV.
Don, wouldn't you agree? Like running a 40-gallon tank without a sump, having acros in there is very, very tough, because it's just a very delicate balance. And if like one thing goes off kilter, then the whole thing can kind of like slide pretty quickly. So the more water volume you have, the better it's going to be.
Yeah, because that 40-gallon is the stability wise is pretty only 40-gallon water volume. So for a smaller tank, for SPS, there's a double-edged sword. One side is that those small volume, that the stability actually is kind of hard, a little bit challenging to maintain. But the other hand is the bright side is that you actually be able to do a large percentage of water change. And that actually can be very beneficial for a small SPS tank. Actually, I just look up on the AI on the CocoaPods. They do lay eggs. So they're actually
Doug, you can't always believe AI though. I mean, Rob upstate New York Rob upstate New York says no eggs. I don't know.
So the AI said that there's two types of well, I think Rob probably is correct on also on one thing, is that because some of them actually carry the egg with the mom. So when the mom die, the egg die. So but there's some other CocoaPod, they do broadcast the egg into the water column. So when we look at red bug, so that there can be black bug and there's a white bug, all sorts of things. So that's why that just in my recollection is that every time you want to hit the CocoaPod or marine CocoaPod bugs, you always follow up within a short period of time. Look at the life cycle and hit it at least twice. So that way that to kill everything that escaped, to be very lucky escape the treatment. So they're always good to do 2 treatments, at least 2 treatments over there. In terms of the 40 gallon, if I was running a 40-gallon SPS dominant tank, I do a huge amount of water change. Take advantage of the smaller water volume. So for example, 20% water change is only about 8 gallon. So 8 gallon, that is less than, that is less than 2 buckets, 2 5-gallon buckets. So easy. I just really do the take advantage of the water change. Actually, water change can balance out a lot of things. So
I think that's what I've gotten lucky with, and I've been consistent. Obviously, I think, yeah, when you're dealing with this lower volume, the one way to kind of solve it is regular water changes. So I do actually about 10, each week. And then
Good.
I think it's helped support it. And I think to your point, guys, the real reality is, it's been 2 years. This is really the bridge to the next step. So now this is like a glorified
It looks
frag
good
tank.
for a 2-year tank. Yeah, it looks
Excited, for that next jump. I would probably get the next tank before I add a sump onto this, right? But I think I'm reaching the upper bounds of limit, the ability to like run this thing successfully. But for the time being, I mean, it's been pretty great. I think
I think a
overall,
40-gallon tank.
it's been pretty
I think
solid.
I think a 40-gallon tank is a great softy tank, and I think you could even put some nice LPS in there. I think when you start adding the SPS, it gets pretty tricky. That's just me. I mean, but so I think that's certainly something to consider, is the small amount of water volume, and there's just not a lot of wiggle room when you're hitting that whole system with interceptor, and you're smoking the whole population of copepods, and so they're resetting, and it's probably causing some phosphates to spike. So there's a lot of things to digest there. The other thing, Alex, I think you mentioned in the notes that we have here that, or maybe you also mentioned it when you gave an overview of the system. You said you've got some dinos on the sand bed.
Yeah, and that's interesting, and it's something I've been fighting for a little bit, because my nutrients have actually been pretty solid. Like my phosphates, I think it has a multi-range of maybe like 0.03 to 0.24 ppm, but the tank naturally settles around 0.1 to 0.13 ppm. So that's like my system's normal equilibrium, but I do the 10 gallons every week temporarily. That pushes down the PO4, and then feeding and dosing brings it right back up. Nitrate, is another part too that I think is probably the most stable in my tank. It's typically between like 0.026 after that big water change, and then I do support it with a little dosing, but I do feed frozen LRS, and it gets back to that like 10 ppm. So day to day, the tank lives, nitrate wise, 7 to 10 ppm lane. But I think stability has like been something that I've been really focused on. So over the past like 3 months, and even present today, I felt like I've had some cyano and even dinos kind of, really lock in on the sand bed. You could kind of see some of them, heavy in the photo period, but like now, my peak's over at 6 o'clock. I run like a 14-hour photo period from like 8 to 10 p.m., but the peak from 12 to 6. And you can see them kind of lift up over the time. Maybe I thought it was my UV. I cleaned it, the inside cylinder. So I've got that tackled. But I'm trying to keep that ratio to, nitrates to phosphates. And I do see that has helped. Salinity is also something that I've really focused in on in that same time frame. I actually switched over to using a Tropomarin hydrometer, and I actually pair that with a 500 milliliter granulated cylinder to test. And honestly, it feels like something straight out of a science class, but it works. And I think it's incredibly consistent. So since using that setup, my salinity has been rock solid at, 1.026. And that accuracy has really made a noticeable difference in, when using my salt mix, but even with dealing with those dinos or, cyano that might creep up, at least from what I've seen. The only way that I've really tackled it, guys, is like I've gone in there and physically removed it and then hope that, it doesn't repopulate.
So regarding, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Regarding the cyano, so are you using the RODI, right? Yeah, you use RODI water. And
RODI
how often do you change the carbon cartridge?
So the RODI, I think I change it. I actually steal it from my brother. He actually has the house, and I go to his place. But I think he changes it probably once, every 3 months, right?
That is the problem. So does your tap water has chloramine in it?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I got to look at the latest ICP. I didn't see anything pop up. Everything was basically zero. I think I just had silicone was the only thing that showed in the RODI. So, I mean, it was pretty clean.
So actually here's a major thing, because I've seen so many of these clean RODI water actually causing the cyano and sometimes dino with my customer around here.
Mhm.
So first of all, the TDS meter does not detect chlorine and chromium. Even your carbon cartridge is exhausted, and then with your chromium going through the cartridge, your TDS meter will not pick it up. You still get 0 TDS. But that chromium, when it hit your tank, is ammonia. That is filling the cyano growths. So I've been seeing it over and over again for this same issue for many people here, is because they do not change the carbon cartridge frequently enough. For example, in Boston city water, if it chews through your carbon cartridge in about 2 to 3 weeks, and that's it, the carbon is dead. Especially your RODI cartridge, the water only pass through once through that cartridge. And if your city is using chromium, you need a chromium cartridge. Otherwise, your chromium will escape, still give you 0 TDS, but end up in your water. When you hit your tank, it become ammonia. And that actually, many cases is because of that.
Yeah, it
So
could be
perhaps-
carbon cartridge.
So Don, he should probably do an ICP of his water source, right? And kind of
No,
sure
the
that-
ICP won't
No?
pick it up. No,
It won't pick it up?
It won't. No, it won't.
Yeah,
How do you pick
I
it up?
started the ICP and it
So
was
that
clean.
your RODI, the ICP, they won't tell. They won't tell at all.
Well, so how do you test?
If you have a chromium.
How do you know then? You got to ask the town for some water
Well,
tests or something?
then, yes, you need to look at the town's website. They have a water testing, as well as how do they treat their water. Do they use chromium or not? What concentration of chromium they actually use? So just assuming if you're using regular RODI with regular carbon cartridge, and if it past 2 weeks or 3 weeks, just assuming that your chromium just going through. See this over and over again. So
I mean, it makes
then,
sense.
yeah,
It's still
there's
there,
a
and my nutrient levels are there. It doesn't really make sense why I'm still seeing this stuff. Thought it was the UV, but maybe it's stemming from that.
The one other thing
so-
I'm going to throw in there. Go ahead, Don. You want to finish?
so that's why that replace your carbon cartridge every 2 to 3 weeks just to be safe, and use a Pentac that chromium cartridge if your tank is using chromium to treat your water. And they're very cheap on Amazon. Well, not affiliated, but
Don loves Amazon.
I love Amazon. It's inexpensive, like less than $5 each carbon cartridge. Why not? And always remember that I tell my customer, your water only pass through the cartridge once. Instead of like recirculating in a reef tank, if we use a bag of activated carbon, that carbon, the water going through the carbon over and over again. But your RODI once. That means that carbon cartridge have to be really in the top shape. That's why that you lose efficiency in 2 to 3 weeks.
There you go. Hey, one other thing I'm going to mention in terms of dinos, keep an eye out on iodine, bromide, fluoride. If your iodine drops to like 0.05 or the bromide's below 55 and the fluoride drops below 1, then that potentially could be one of the reasons why you might be seeing dinos. So those three
that actually
elements.
might be another reason, because on the trace side, I did notice there's 2 consistent patterns with the ICPs that I've done. No way mine are at all perfect, but the manganese is always depleted. Every test shows it's bottoming out, so I try to supplement that. I think, the latest test was 0.01 UGL, and on the flip side, the iodine was high in my last 2 tests. So I've tried to pull everything back, that adds iodine, let the system naturally bring it down. So maybe it's that, right?
All right. Well, listen,
And
Alex, go ahead, Dong. One final word for Alex.
Yeah, because you're feeding commercial frozen food. And that commercial frozen food also can contain iodine and bromide, all that kind of thing. So that is something to think about, that there's more than one source of where the iodine come from.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, goes back to the original statement. Once you figure it out, there's always something. So, but
Yep, there's
I appreciate
always
you guys
something.
to come on
There's
here.
always
I really
something.
appreciate the time.
Yeah.
Todd, last thing on this. Todd from Champion says they sell matrix carbon cartridges that remove the
Yeah.
chloramines and the chlorine. There you go.
Yep.
All right, so Alex, man, we're gonna say goodbye for now, but we'd love for you to stick around at the end of the show. We're gonna bring everybody back, so we'll put you back in the green room, and we'll see you in a little bit down the road. We're gonna bring on James next. So thanks, Alex, man, for sharing. We really appreciate that. Hopefully that
Thank you.
this helped.
Great, guys. Appreciate the insight.
All right. Yep. All right. James, man, what's happening?
Not too much. How's it going, guys?
Hey.
So good to be here.
Good.
Yeah. All right. We got our second hobbyist, James, on the docket here. And James, man, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about your tank and what the issues you're running into and how we can potentially help.
Yeah, so I've been in the hobby in this round just a few years, maybe 2 years. Before this, in the mid 2000s, early 2010s, I was in the hobby for about a decade on the retail side of a local fish store. I've bred marine fish. I've spawned some soft coral. So I feel like I've got a pretty good grip on what I'm doing usually. Here behind me, I have a 23-gallon Red Sea Peninsula tank. Not huge, nothing extremely crazy about what I'm running with it. I dose some ammonia in it. We dose some alpha reef, and I dose some trisodium phosphate. Beyond that, everything is great in this tank, with the exception of it feels embarrassing to say, I have flatworms. I have red planaria in this tank, not anything eating any coral, just good old classic red flatworms. They came in on the first corals I put in on the tank. And in my first corals in the past, I've had bigger tanks. And in a bigger tank, like, you can get a little more loosey-goosey about putting stuff in there to just, like, kill things, eat things. In a smaller tank like this, I've found that it is much harder to maintain some semblance of peace in the tank and still put in things that are going to eat red flatworms. I've used flatworm exit I've used it a few times at this point. The last one, we had a major tank crash after using it. I don't think it's from necessarily the toxins in the flatworms, but I think it's killing my bristleworms. And that I have so many bristleworms, which I don't mind them. They're fine. They're just doing their thing. There's so many bristleworms that it's killing that population, spiking the ammonia through the roof. So I'm apprehensive about doing flatworm exit anymore. I just don't know where to go from this point. I've got a few fish in here that I bite the bullet, put in some things where I'd rather not put it into this tank, and nothing from any of them. I'm just I'm at a loss. Every time I think they're gone, I feel that sense of relief, and then a couple weeks later, I can see one crawling around, and I just know, like, well, we're right back where we were.
So that when you do the flatworm exit, do you do a second treatment in 7 days?
I have.
Okay. So
the first round I did the second treatment. It seemed to do something to my snails. And I know that's a minor thing.
Course.
Snails are cheap, but I really like my snails at this point. They've been around us, but the first round definitely affected something. The first time I did it, the second dose definitely affected some things negatively.
So do you run activated carbon after the flatworm exit?
Yep, run activated carbon afterwards, and I'll do
large water change.
Yeah, usually about 50%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's 23 gallons, so
here,
it's easy to just pull that off real quick.
When you do the flatworm exit treatment, so you do see the flatworm dying, right?
The last treatment I did, I saw almost all of them die.
Okay.
There were still a few after all was said and done where I could look at like a couple of different spots in the tank and go, still alive.
Mm-hmm. Because they evolve. So some of the flatworm in this hobby it is harder to kill. So when you do the flatworm exit treatment, so what kind of dosage is that according to the label?
The first 2 treatments were the third treatment, and these were all within 1 year. The third treatment, I did a double dosage, and that was the one that was the most disappointing, where killed lots of flatworms, crashed the tank, still had flatworms.
So are you using the same bottle of flatworm exit?
I am, but it hasn't hit its technical expiration yet. So technically it's not expired. So I'm like, why would I? Because also I'm at the point of like, why would I even buy more? Like, it does work, but like it's not working.
Where do you buy that flatworm exit from?
The first time from a local fish store. I'm still on the same bottle. It's only 23 gallons.
So well, it sounds like a very strange question, but I do see that happen. There is such thing is expired flatworm exit, but with unexpired label put on by the fish store. Unfortunately, that's what we've seen before.
I'll say that I trust this fish store enough that
good.
I don't think that was the case. But I have considered that, like, even just the act of like breaking the seal, opening it up, it's now exposed to it's exposed to atmosphere, other things, that it's possible that it has made it less effective.
So, do you have a sand bed?
Got a sand bed. No flatworms on the sand bed.
They're on the rock.
Single one.
They're on the rock.
Not even really on the rock. Like, there's a few on some rocks. The only reason it bothers me so much is that they are on a few different corals, and it's seemingly at random. And the corals that they are on are not pleased. Most of the corals they're on are very not pleased about this. The rest of, there's some things they're on and like, that coral doesn't care. I don't care. We move on. I have a couple of toadstools in the tank that they're on top of, and those have like greatly reduced polyp extension. They just don't look great. And one of them is a nice Jim Graham telegram. He gave me a nice Bahama Llama weeping willow, and now it's got flatworms on it, and now it doesn't want to come out all the way. He gave me a Space Invader pectinia, and they are covering that coral. It is obviously very upset.
So, can you remove the coral from the tank to dip them?
I can a few of them. The rest of the stuff, like I have a larger toadstool, a big Gorgonia in there, that they are well grown into the tank. And I just recently, I moved in December, and on my resetup, I got a little crazier with the rockscape, and now I'm not in a position to be able to pull any rock out of the tank to be able to do anything with it.
Well, so, I mean, let me. I was going to. I think I know where you were going with that, Dong. But let me just point out that anything is possible, and I think where there is a will, there is a way. So I've got to have a piece of advice after Dong gives his piece of advice. But there, even though it's going to be a pain in the ass to break up the rock work and all that stuff, I think you need to do that to get the corals out and to do that therapeutic bath. Go ahead, Dong. I don't know what you were going to say, but maybe you're.
That's what I'm going to say. Then you just take the coral out. For matter of fact, the potassium chloride worked really well on flatworm.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Melted.
It. I had
Yeah.
I had the aceol flatworms on
Yep.
my Ganis and Alveopora, and I was dipping them in other meds to combat parasites and flatworms and pests and all that stuff, and they wouldn't. The polyps would retract, and the flatworms would go into the skeleton and avoid the medication, and so these meds were not totally nuking the Ganis and the Alveopora. But when I dipped the Ganis and Alveopora in potassium chloride, nuked them. Got
Yeah.
problem solved. I couldn't believe it. That was the answer for me.
I've considered the full-on breakdown with potassium chloride being the treatment, having everything separated out, even like full-on taking every fish out of the tank as well, every snail, and just running a treatment in the tank itself just to like try to flush it all out. Oh, please.
Actually,
please don't.
there's an easier way to do that, because that your coral now on the rock, right? So because you have a small tank, if I were you, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to get a large bucket with potassium chloride and tank water. I just get the whole piece of rock with the coral on it and dip the whole thing.
Yeah, dip the rock.
And then, dip the rock and then put them back and take another piece of rock and dip them. And after that, I will put a Menonurus wrasse in it. So the wrasse will pick up the rest.
Reef Keeper is saying that he added a small yellow chorus wrasse and wiped them up in less than a week.
Yeah, the last added fish into the tank was a 6-line wrasse of decent size. He picks at rocks, but he doesn't currently pick at the flatworms. This could change in the future, and like no issues, whatever. But at least right now, he doesn't pick at it.
What do you feed the fish?
A little bit of everything. Mostly mysis shrimp. I think I can get Hikari mysis at my local fish store, and that's what I usually get. But they'll get like some TDO pellets and some flakes here and there.
Because you feed them too well.
Yeah. Well, I got a Bangai Cardinal in here I really like, so I'm trying to fatten this guy up, get him ready for a female sometime.
Just what Greg is saying, though, also is, the natural predator should really be the first thing that you try, and maybe it takes a couple of different wrasses to try to like crack that nut.
Yeah,
but definitely don't go to the extreme until you try the natural predators first. That's always the best solution.
Yeah, we did a yellow-tailed damsel at first because I've had luck with them in larger tanks picking at flatworms off things. He does not care. That's fine. I like him. No harm, no foul. We added in a dragonet because I've heard that people have had success, and it's a more peaceful fish. I would like to maintain some peace in here. It does not care. It does eat mysis. That's great, but does not care about flatworms. The 6-line is the last hope. I know that there's the blue velvet head shield slug or nudibranch, and it definitely eats flatworms. But I've had them shipped before into stores, and they don't do great shipping. They don't do great in flow, and it's a very high flow tank. So I'm hesitant for that. I did have a crazier idea that I'm going to throw out there. This is just something I've considered doing because I suspect that the last dose, it was the ammonia spike that really crashed the tank. I don't think it was necessarily the flatworm exit itself. I'm already dosing ammonia into my tank. I've considered gradually here, over a longer period of time, dosing higher doses of ammonia, getting myself up to a point where the tank is still processing way more than it needs to, cutting it off and dosing. And then the ammonia that I get after that, the spike after that, maybe the tank will be ready and adapted to deal with something like that. But this is just my craziest idea in dealing with this. You get desperate after it. It's been 2 years. You start getting real weird and thinking of stuff.
I would take the coral out and dip with potassium chloride.
That's fair.
Before I would do, then
Like I said, it was my craziest idea so far.
But there's been a few suggestions in terms of natural predators. Great white reef is the springeride damsels. That's a good one. They'll even go after acro-eating flatworms. I'm not exactly sure what this is. The
that's
wet
a
morla.
possum wrasse.
Okay.
I had a possum wrasse in here first. Unfortunately, it passed in the great flatworm exit tank crash of 2005.
Mandarins, target mandarin.
Yeah, wasn't able to easily source one, so I went psychedelic and just kind of, I hoped. No luck.
Kenny, do you have any of those that you could ship? James, maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, I think I think in terms of after the natural predator option, then I think the advice you're getting from Dong and I is pull the corals out and do a potassium chloride dip. Don, what strength do you do in the KCl? I've got mine out there on the internet someplace. So I think if you Googled it, you can see what I'd use for the dip.
There is another instruction that is the Polyp Lab's Reef Primer.
Yeah.
You can use their concentration. Their concentration is much higher than normally what's on the internet. So probably more concentrated than what Keith's method is. So because you're taking out, but only did for 5 minutes, then everything melted. Oh, I mean the worm, not the coral.
Yeah, I've seen Richard Ross. I've seen him do some real high concentrations of it.
Oh,
just to be like, it works.
Yeah.
So
because the potassium, I think that you can all the way up to like 1,200 ppm is perfectly fine for fish and coral.
Yeah,
that is pretty concentrated. Yeah.
James, do you know for sure that you got red planaria, or did you get a specific ID on them, or somebody? I think Todd from Champion thought you had what I had, which is the ACL flatworms.
They are fairly large. They could be that ACL flatworm, but they are definitely that classic like red brown color. Varying, with the tail, with a
the wedge shape,
full on tail, big enough that like I can see the spot that they get on their the middle of them.
Wow.
And they're not on the glass, they're not on the sand, they're not on the rocks.
They are not. Well, I'll get a couple on glass, but like that's usually after I've gone in there with a baster to see, like, try to clear things off, hope that it will tempt somebody into like thinking this is fish food. So I'll have like a couple land on some of the glass, but not really on the rocks, never on the sand.
Yeah, I'm not sure you've got the planaria.
Oh, you think I've got the ACL?
Sounds like what that was the case for me. I didn't have them on the rocks. I didn't have them on the sand. Maybe rarely saw them on the glass. They were just on the corals.
Yeah, these things are almost exclusively on coral.
Yeah, aren't red planaria, Dong, always on like everything?
Yeah, on the glass, on the
sand bed.
Yeah,
rocks.
Sand bed, glass. Yeah, especially on the glass. You should see those things crawling on the glass, and also that, according to your description, they're bigger than the regular red flatworm.
They're definitely sizable.
So I think probably in that case, the flatworm exit may not actually work at all.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've done it with I've done dips with individual coral pieces with the flatworm exit, and it's definitely at least stunning the flatworms off of them. Even if I don't know if it's killing them, because I'm dumping that water. Obviously, I'm not hanging around for too long to double check it. but it is at least doing something to them.
Yeah, Todd
So-
is Todd's agreeing. If it's ACO, then it's just dip them.
Dip the corals.
dip the rock, the whole thing.
It's
Yeah.
so sad. It's so well grown in. I was so proud of it. I'll be so sad to rip it apart.
No,
but,
it's
know,
not
it-
going to
no,
kill the coral. It's not going to
No,
kill
no,
the
you're
coral.
not going to kill the coral.
Oh no, I'm not worried about the coral dying. It's the when you do an aquascape and you like it, you better keep it, because if you try to do it again, you ain't getting that.
Oh, okay. So in that case,
I'll never
can you
get it
remove
back,
the
but-
fish, snail fish, and remove them, and then just treat the whole tank, and then you just do 100% water change after that.
Oh, just do the potassium
That's
chloride
rad.
straight in tank.
Yep, potassium chloride.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just like the reef primer dose. You can look up the reef primer on the label. They're basically just potassium chloride with a little bit magnesium thing. So same dose, and remove the fish, remove the snails and shrimps, and stop wait, you don't have a sum, so that's not a problem. So just treat the whole tank, but make sure you have all the new water ready. It only take about 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Everything, all the worm gonna die in that tank. Then you immediately do a 50% to 100% water change, and run activated carbon, and your coral should be fine, because you have a small tank.
Is it generally something that I can expect to have wipe out most non-coral invertebrates? So my bristleworms, any copepods.
Yeah, bristleworm gonna die. Yeah.
All right.
So all the worms are probably gonna wipe out all the worms.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the copepod can regenerate. Well, actually, of potassium chloride, I've seen the little shrimp, the copepod has shell.
Yeah.
They're more resistant than the worm. The worm basically bare naked, and they have the potassium channel on their skin, and that got hit, they will get a spasm first, and then melt and die. And then the copepod actually can sustain probably more than 10 minutes, because the treatment is only about 5 minutes, no more than 5 minutes, and then you just do a big water change. That reminds me that one of my friends, that he ran a 2-gallon pickle tank. He do weekly 100% water change. The coral can expose to air for a few minutes, no problem at all. Yeah, just pump out the water and put the water back in, the new water back in.
Let's call that the nuclear option. That's your last resort.
It's not really that nuclear. It's not really that bad.
Dong, you're scaring me with that 100% water change.
Oh, no.
I love water. I love 100% water change.
That actually is less shocking than people expect. Actually, with the potassium chloride, with this kind of treatment, actually really mild. Seriously, really mild. When you consider putting other chemical in there. So that is an option, because you have a smaller tank.
Can we agree, like, natural predators is probably the first option? That's the least invasive, if you can find a fish that could that could eat them. And then if you can,
but he already tried, right?
Yeah, well, I think there was a few suggestions that we had from viewers that or other natural predators you haven't tried, James.
And there's some other wrasses I haven't put in here yet. And I'm not my fish are great, but also I'll take any one of them out for any reason. It does not bother me. So switching some fish around and out is totally fine.
But fish only can eat so much, though.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing I'll say is that don't fall in love with escape and let that inhibit potentially solving an issue. I mean, I've had to break stuff down. I've taken whole rocks out with corals on the rocks and dipped and all that sort of thing. And you know what? I put it back together satisfactory. And I think when you have a good reef tank going and the corals are happy and healthy, it's going to grow back in. So you're not going to really you're not going to notice it as much. So I would not get as hung up about your aquascape being ruined by taking corals and rock out of the tank to treat them. I think sometimes we get too wrapped up in the aquascapes and all that sort of thing. And I'm always a proponent of just trying to put together the best you can do in terms of aquascape. And I mean, yeah, those minimalistic aquascapes are really cool, and the fish swim through them. But if you do the things right, man, the corals are going to cover it up anyway.
Yeah.
And the corals are going to bond the rock together, and it's
Yeah,
it's okay.
I don't look.
I'm
I don't
saying
look
it's
forward
okay
to the
to.
breaking the rocks up. It's all grown in because the tank's so small. It grows in so quick. So like, I shouldn't have a problem with it. It'll be a sad day, but it's a
Yeah,
rebirth.
for sure.
We give it another
Yeah.
go.
Well, maybe you would like the new aquascape better.
This is true.
Yeah.
I heard that there's a vendor, maybe a Champion Lighting Supply, and I could get some Pucani rock from them, which is what I've really
Yeah.
wanted. So
Yeah,
Yeah. Now it's a chance.
yeah.
yeah.
With
Well,
the
Got fake
coupon.
rock right now.
Definitely.
So like,
Yeah, you use
Oh,
the ReefBum
okay.
coupon.
yeah.
Oh,
Use-
you have the man-made rock, right?
I do. I have a
Oh,
topic-
absolutely. I just replace them with natural rock.
Yeah.
You'll
I
be
know I need to.
surprised when you have the natural rock, when you get rid of all this fake rock, and
Yeah,
how
and
much better the coral
you know,
grows.
Back in the day,
Yeah.
it was all we had, and then I got back into the hobby, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Where's all the rock at? What's everybody doing about this?"
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
we went fake.
that's a good reason to break it apart and then
It is.
rebuild it with real rock.
yeah, yep. No, for sure.
Definitely.
Well, all right, James. So that's the advice that you got from us, and also a whole bunch of people that were tuning in there, and certainly go back through the chat because there was a lot of recommendations for the natural predators, and I think Kenny at High Tide Aquatics can hook you up with some fish that might also be worthwhile checking out.
Sounds good.
So-
And as promised, Dong has solved my issue.
There you go. Told you.
I like nuclear option.
Yeah, Don
I'll
just
hold
goes
up on
right
that
for the.
one for now.
Don
but-
just hits that red button. He's just like,
Oh yeah. Where's my red button?
he's just he unlocks both keys and hits that button, and it's
Yeah.
like
Nuclear.
turns the keys.
He shouldn't have both
Nuclear.
of them. Somebody else should have the second key.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
exactly.
Long arms.
All right, James. So we're gonna put you back into the green room, and we'll bring you back at the end of the show. Everybody will get to hang out and kind of chat a little bit at the end of the show. But yeah, let me put you back, and we're gonna bring on Neil. Thanks,
Sounds
James,
great.
for sharing,
Thanks, y'all.
man.
Anytime.
Appreciate it. Okay. Hey, Neil, what's happening, man?
I'm doing
Hi,
great,
Neil.
Keith. How are you? Hey, Don. How are you?
Excellent.
Very good.
You guys know each
looking
other
good.
real. You guys
Oh, yeah.
know each other real well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think my claim to fame is joining Boston Reefer 2 months before Don did in 2004.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that's that. You found Dong through his association with Boston Reefer Society.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And how many corals in your tank are from Dong's farm?
I would say a good 80%. I mean, that's
See, that's your problem, Neil. That's the problem. That's my problem. It's like I got too much growth. The corals do too well. It's because they've got great lineage from
I
Dong.
mean, look at it this way. I don't have any bugs. I don't have so, I don't have the problems a lot of people are experiencing these days. But yeah, dip your corals and get the natural predators in there, and it'll take care of itself.
So Neil, why don't you go ahead and just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, your reef keeping, brief reef keeping journey there, and tell us about your setup, and tell us about the issue you're facing here and how Dong and I potentially can help you.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So this guy behind me was a pandemic project put up in late 21. 225 gallon, custom. I think it's who is it? Glass cages. Running a 25 to 40, actually it's 40 gallon in the sump, and then I also have a refugium that's got about 25 gallons. So the entire system's about 260 gallons. Good flow. I got 4 tunsies on each corner, pulsing in opposite directions. So some pretty good flow. 4 GHL Mitras on top, which you're very familiar with, Keith. Calcium reactor, running UV 24/7, and changing about 6 or 8% of water a week. From a dosing perspective, I do fluorine and some metals. I'm on well water. So unlike a lot of city water, there's no fluorine in the water. So I dose fluorine and some metals. And that's pretty much it. ICP tests look pretty good. It's, constantly telling me I'm a little light on the metals, but I don't want to overdo it. There are a couple of manufacturers out there that tell you they're metals, and then they stick iodine in there as well. So I did have an iodine spike maybe a year ago, which took out a couple of corals. I couldn't understand why, and then the ICP told me the iodine was off the through the ceiling. So stopped that, changed a lot of water, and just back to minimal dosing and water changes, and that's keeping things pretty healthy. So, as I mentioned, no pests to speak of. I mean, there's a couple of Aptasia that I have some shrimp in there, munching on, but I don't know anybody that doesn't have a couple of Aptasia in a tank. Not a lot of algae growth, some in the sump, in the overflow, but that's kind of natural. Got a powder blue and a fox face that take care of that stuff in the tank, and a bunch of snails. So it's happy. So my problem is too much growth. I had a great aquascape when I first put this thing up. We were just talking about aquascapes in the previous segment, and couple of test corals, and waited the obligatory year until the biome is all set before getting some nice corals. And then that was my problem. I just went a little berserk and just started putting corals everywhere, and a lot of them, most of them are just taking off. Try to create, make frags every once in a while, and try to unwind them. And it's come to the point where I'll just post free frags, just come pick it up. I have some sticks that are growing out of the water when I change the water, so they're like sitting in air for half an hour until I put water back in there. But even giving away some stuff for free, there's just like too much stuff. So what's the moral dilemma? Just you cut it and throw it out, or cut it and just stick it in a corner, and then they'll because they're not attached and there's no flow, it's not gonna be healthy for them. So
using a calcium reactor media.
What's that?
Calcium reactor media.
Calcium reactor media to do what?
Well, you put them in a calcium reactor. Dead acros make great calcium reactor media.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stuff I put in there does have looks like some old frags in there.
Hey Neil, can you show us, like, give us a more close-up look at the growth you got going on there? Is that possible?
Let's see if I can flip this thing around. You know what? I can't flip.
Okay.
Because I'm not in the green room, but I'll just move the whole thing a little closer and see if I can see some stuff. But so that, I don't know how to do that. Okay. But I'll just walk across. So this guy, I've been chopping up for quite a bit, and it just grows back. In the back is that flurry thing that Don was talking about. More stuff. Got a ton of mushrooms.
Have you ever?
And-
Go ahead, Neil.
Yeah, and then speaking about the aquascape, I had like 3 different piles, but this Jedi mind trick decided to do a thing of its own and just take over a bunch of stuff. I guess I should have chopped that up. It's literally a foot wide.
Wow. Beautiful. Whatchamacallit, stylo. Why am I blanking on the name?
The Milka Stylo.
Yeah, Milka stylo. Yeah.
Thank you, Don, for that.
A little sarcasm in your voice there, Neil.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, from a tiny frag.
Tiny frag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that thing
And
was
become a
literally.
monster.
Yeah, it was probably one of the first things I put in the tank early. That was prior to the 1 year deadline to see how things took off, and it just literally took off. And I have cut that thing I don't know how many times and just giving frags away, and it just grows back like crazy.
Have you tried what Kenny from High Tide Aquatics is recommending, raising your phosphate?
It is to what, limit growth or?
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Oh, okay. Raise
Yeah.
your pH. You'll slow it. I'm running at about 0.2, 0.3 now, so it is pretty high. I got some pretty fat fish in there, so I feed a lot. And then I had my experiment tank, which I had, I was running phosphates at, 1.2 decimal point. And I had some LPS in there that the polyps were just like huge. So I'm running about 0.2, 0.3 in the big display. Nitrates were about 12, 13. So like I said, if you can't give them away, what do you do?
Have you done any tank reboots? Have you taken colonies out and just restarted with frags? Is that something you've done over your with that tank? How old is that tank again?
This tank is just 4 years old, turning 5.
Just 4 years.
Yeah, but I've
mean,
done it in the previous tank. I've been doing this for about 35 years. So I mean,
that's always an option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's just it. So just post here, take this monster from me, and I'll put something else in.
Right, Dong? I mean, that's one way to do it is to do either a complete tank reboot or remove like some of the bigger colonies. If you can give a big colony away to somebody, keep a couple of big chunky frags and replant them and let the cycle repeat itself. We're not going to give you advice to try to like stunt your reef tank. I mean, that's good advice that Kenny's saying in terms of raising your phosphate, but it sounds like you already have high phosphate. So, you don't want to like ruin a good thing. I mean, you've obviously got the touch and you've been able to grow corals at a very fast rate. And that's a great problem to have. But it is a real problem because, eventually it is going to potentially cause issues. You're going to have less circulation because corals are going to be changing the flow in there. Have you adapted your flow to the increased coral growth? Are you adding any more recirculating pumps in that tank?
I did have 4 waves. I didn't really care for them, and they weren't really pumping what I wanted. I mean, very customizable. But I just went old school with the 4 tonsies, and I can crank them up. But you're absolutely right. It does cut off some circulation, and it does shade a lot of the corals underneath. And a lot of the corals underneath are ones I like and want them to grow. So I do have to start chopping the Miyagi's and whatnot. So I will probably start posting for free stuff again.
Well, there you go, folks. If you're in the Boston area, help Neil out. Help a brother out, right?
So
But,
I would call it semi reboot, like I did to my 200-gallon. I have this gigantic airflow. Unfortunately, the airflow was so close to the water, the surface. So it's like giant umbrella shading everybody down there. So it's like bare aquascape down there. So just recently, I finally make up my mind. I yanked the whole freaking thing out, and then replace that area. Wow! Suddenly, so much opportunity, so much space open up by getting rid of one very old airflow. Yeah, the last time you were here, you still see my giant airflow closer to the water surface with nothing underneath. So on my 200-gallon tank. Now that thing, one day I make up my mind, yank the freaking thing out. Yeah, I just gave that thing away, but I keep several frags. I said, okay, bring a 5-gallon bucket with lid, of course. Sometimes you can see people just bring a bucket with no lid. No, that doesn't work. So, okay, whole thing, just boom, go. And same thing happened to this tank. This tank, I used to have a white rose acro. It's more than 1 feet diameter, right in the middle. And then it occupies so much room. So I just post on the Boston River, cheap. So make sure you bring a bucket. And then a guy bring a bucket, just grab the whole thing, dump in the bucket, not looking back. Go, just go. And then I have all the room suddenly available to put more colorful coral in it. So basically like a semi-reboot. I'm not rebooting the whole tank, but only rebooting part of it. That will make sure that all the bacterial or the biomic doesn't get affected. You just put one coral at a time. Big colony. Replace them with multiple smaller, different color, smaller colonies. So let them regrow. Well, actually, a reef tank definitely need to reboot once a while. Partial reboot.
I agree. And I agree with Gene's comment too. Reboot can be very liberating. The idea is very intimidating, but you will be very glad once you do it.
Yes, yes.
The other thing I'll say is that you can add flow to blast certain corals that you don't want to grow anymore. And it seems to be working in my peninsula tank where I have a lot of tabled corals because I have so much flow in that tank. But, you know, it is keeping certain corals from actually getting to the glass because I've got some MP40s and MP60s that are in the corner, the back panel on the 4 corners, the top right, the top left, the bottom left, and the bottom right. And then I've got a couple more MP40s in the other end. But, you know, some of those MP40s are actually preventing coral from growing certain directions. And, you know, that's a kind of a weird, crazy thing to say, but you can add more flow to compensate for the less flow you're getting with the larger corals, but also to help stunt some growth.
It's interesting. I'm not sure what the the biology behind it is, but do your corals grow towards the flow?
Well, they're kind of like stunted, you know. And that's why I think a lot of corals are tabling out because there's so much flow that they can't really grow up because of the flow, so they're going to grow to the side.
Got it. Yeah, because I have some sticks that are growing like towards the pump.
Right.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. It's a crazy idea, but it's something I've seen firsthand.
Yeah, no, the reboot sounds interesting, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people interested in helping out. But it's also interesting, seeing which are the stronger corals, whether it's an acro versus a monty. They're growing into each other, and sometimes you get like 2 monties, and there's like a weird gray line trying to build there, and you have other times one is literally just attacking another, and they bleach out.
There's another piece of advice I can give you, and that is that you learn from the corals that you have that are growing really, really fast. So, I've kind of like said to myself, I'm not going to ever have another tub Stiletta Montiport in my display tank or a Green Valley Slimer, because they grow so freaking fast. So, when you do a reboot, you can kind of like keep that in the back of your head. It's like, man, some of these corals are so aggressive and they grow so fast. I'm going to just stay away from them after I reboot the tank. Or you can basically, when you do the reboot on the tank, if you really like that milk stylo, if you like that fuzzy coral, whatever you're calling it, then furry, then you could put it on its own little island or something, or you can kind of give it a lot of space to grow. So what I'm saying is that you kind of like learn what the aggressive corals are and potentially what you could avoid in the future, or at least you can make accommodations for those aggressive corals and leave a lot of space.
Yeah, it's also the rule of large numbers. You have a large coral, just 1 inch of growth is the entire thing, expanding around, whereas a smaller one than 1 inch of growth is not much. But no, you're absolutely right. The aggressive corals, probably need to be exited. I have a Pink Floyd that I bought, like a 2-inch frag. It's probably a 2-inch frag, 2.5 inches after 2 years. Those just don't grow. Whereas like the Miyagi's and the yellow tips and things like that just take off. Man with the yellow hat, I kind of all these bizarre names.
Well, sometimes there's some acro actually outcompete other acro, so that could be the possibility. That why some of the more desirable one, more highly colored one grow actually slower. That's possible because that they're all competing with each other. So when you have a large colony actually taking up, they can shade it, stun it. So when I look at your tank, when I was there, and definitely from the aggressive coral, the fast-growing coral is shading the other coral,
right?
The other coral that you like. So by shading the light, shading the flow, actually reduce the growth of the coral, that the one that you really love. So what Keith said about the flow, a strong flow, to actually we can train the coral to grow in certain direction. I actually observed that. So when I used to have a big, that white rose acro, that thing just freaking fast, and you keep approaching the fun glass. So every time I scrape the glass, I always hit the coral. You break several chunks. So at that, before I remove it, what I did is that I actually have a gyre vertically. Oh, sorry, like a position a gyre closer to the front glass vertically, and has a very strong current, like a curtain, flying through the front glass. Then and that white rose will not approach that front glass because too much flow. They actually they know that too much flow, so that they can potentially damage the tissue when the flow is too much. So they actually curve away from the front glass. Now I don't have that problem, so I took the gyre out. Because there's a vertical near the edge, so basically there's a very strong curtain on top, and that actually prevents the coral to approaching your glass.
Got it.
Yeah.
But that flow has to be very strong and very thin layers, so create a very high stressful kind of flow. But on the benefit side, it does create a whirlpool, a very nice gyre effect, because they hit the other end and swirl back. Yeah. So the coral actually quite happy in the middle.
You do have a sand bed. You do have a sand bed though, right? Is that light sand or is that?
Yeah, I just figured out how to turn this camera around. So give me a second. I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's light, maybe a couple inches, 1.5 inches.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Don?
Oh, I just saw on the saltwateraquarium.com from my email, they said ATI is selling reef sand right now. ATI branded sand.
Hold
There's
it. What
one
about
option-
Champion? We gotta talk about a sponsor though, Dog. Champion Lighting and
Okay.
Supply. Then they probably have that stuff too.
They all you
I'm
need
just-
to do is just put a layer of big particle sand on top of your current sand to weight it
Yeah.
down. Yeah.
Okay. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's like we said, Neil. It's a good problem to have, and not all the problems in reef keeping have to be about pests or chemistry or algae and all that sort of thing. You know, having the real strong growth is you know, you're not cursed or anything, but like I said before, it's a good problem to have.
Mhm.
But
Oh,
it is something you got to manage.
Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
trust me, I completely understand that after being in this hobby for more than 35 years, I've had my fair share of
Wouldn't it be
pests
great if
and-
we
and
could
troubles.
wouldn't it be great if we could just push a stop button and be like, okay, I'm really happy with the tank. Stop growing. Can somebody invent that product? You know, like
Or maybe just take
stunting,
them out and give it away and put new one in.
Yeah.
Put the smaller one in. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's the direction.
Well, Neil, listen, man. Thanks for sharing your journey and what's going on with your tank. Yeah, I think we could all learn from that situation. So I'm going to put you back in the green room. We're going to bring back our final hobbyist, Adam, and then we'll have everybody kind of rejoin us at the end and say so long together.
Good to see you guys and chat in a minute.
All right, Neil. Thanks, man. Adam, what's happening, man?
Hey guys, long-time listener, first-time caller.
What is this
Nice to be
outfit?
here.
What is this reef beef? You should be wearing ReefBum.
You didn't send me a shirt, otherwise
yeah.
I'd maybe sport it. But
I gave you a sip of sunshine at the reef
reef
retreat.
retreat,
Did you have?
Yeah,
Did you get a chance to try that?
very good. But next year it's a head-to-head comparison between that and Heady Topper because I'm not
Okay.
convinced. I'm not convinced, but
Oh,
it was
yeah,
very
have you
good.
ever-
Thank you.
So you never had a Heady Topper either?
I have, but it's been a long time.
Yeah. Both Adam and I were at reef retreats. So, like I said at the beginning of the show, man, was that your first one? Did you go the year before?
It was my first one, and I can't wait till next year. Absolutely incredible experience. So everybody watching, got to watch
Yeah.
out for that. Fantastic event.
Yeah.
So
All right, Adam, man, like everybody before, why don't you kind of talk to us about your reef keeping journey and why you're here needing some help solving a problem.
yeah, always looking for advice. The reef beef community is great. Always interested in other opinions too. So I think I've been reefing on and off for probably 15 years now, maybe a little more than that. This tank is a 310-gallon display. It's about 4 years old. I'm in the middle of Wisconsin, so for Midwest, if anybody's around, you want some coral, let me know. And really, it's generally old school, except for a few things. One, I have a very high fish load. I've been watching the rest of the show here, and most of the other guys didn't see a lot of fish swimming around, right? But my fish to gallon ratio is pretty high, about 63 fish in here, I think.
Wow.
And that could be a problem contributing to my issue. But started with dry rock. That's the other non-standard thing. And I run very elevated nutrients. So I kind of subscribe to the rich Ross phosphate. Doesn't matter. My phosphates have been as high as about 7 to 9 ppm. Currently, they're at 0.6. So just for reference. But what I'm looking from you guys for is I've had cyano on and off over the years, right? It comes and goes. But what I have now has stuck around, and it's a little bit in sand, a little bit on the rock, a little bit on some coral, and it's been there for probably 1.5 years persistently in the same places. And I could do a blackout, I could do some other things, but it's really just kind of irritating me that it's not dynamic, I guess. And Dong, you may have solved my problem with the first guest, but I checked, and we don't have chloramines. My city uses chlorine. I use dual 1 micron carbon blocks,
Mhm.
and I replace them probably every 6 months. So maybe I could try to replace those a little more often.
So let me give you one actual example. I see the exact same thing. What you describe. Yep, a guy have the tank several years old. Start with dry rock, actually man-made dry rock. Some of mixed with some of the macro rock, old macro rock.
Yep.
Then the cyano always happen in certain spot, doesn't go away. And you take that rock out, smash it open, sinks
Cement?
inside. Well, yep, the chemical continue to leaching out from certain spot. That is one of the problem of using dry rock.
What kind of dry rock is
Depends-
it?
Yeah.
Yep, it was Marco Rock. All Marco Rock started, and
Yeah.
dry sand. So my first tank
So-
with a kind of a sterile start.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Let me tell you my macro rock story. Nothing to do with the brand, okay? But this is a very interesting thing. I used to have one piece of macro rock, start from dry rock, beautiful piece. So always one spot growing algae, always. No matter what I do, always that spot. I took that rock out, smashed it with a hammer. The rock split open. Then there's some kind of probably a million years old gel-like stuff trapped inside that pocket, slowly leaching out. Because back then, the macro rock actually is harvested on the land, but it was ancient reef. And somehow some pockets of some kind of thing was trapped inside that rock, was slowly leaching out. If that piece of rock was from the ocean, that would be a different story, because that if that's a live rock and that pockets of thingy will long gone, but it was a dry rock. Either that pocket is a dinosaur poop or is some agriculture contamination. So the phenomena is that always that spot, always that patch, always that rock has the algae or cyano. Take turns going on that thing. Took it out, smash it open. That's what happened. So that's why that I've never experienced the same thing, because all the rock, every single piece of rock in my reef are all true live rock.
Well, share anecdotally, this tank struggled with diatom, cyano, you name it, for 2 years until I got a Polyp Lab meteor brick from Rich Ross, shipped it to me, and I put that in here, and I think that just that bacteria, that natural microbial good stuff finally helped, but and like I said, after that, it's been pretty good until that last year or so, where and you can't really see much of it, but it if you look close enough, it's definitely in there, and everybody has a little bit, but this is just sprinkled throughout the entire tank.
Well, so. If there's not too much of cyano is everywhere on the reef. So actually, the way I look at cyano actually is the lifeguard of a reef tank. The way I look at it, cyano is your friend. The reason is that cyano always in the water column. There's no way you can get rid of cyano, okay? It's part of the ecosystem. So when you have the cyano in your tank, when your nutrients start going up, or you feed too much, or the fish poop too much, the cyano kicks in, and then consuming all this nutrient, remove the nutrient out of the water column to save your coral. Of course, themselves, just by multiplying, by doing its job, by multiplying. That's why you can see it. So cyano is your friend, as long as your friend is not overpopulated, like a Facebook friend. Oh, I got 2,000 friends, too many. As long as the friend in check, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, I have a patch of cyano here and there, no big deal. Yeah.
But
if the cyano always on the same spot, I will replace that rock.
Okay.
Yeah. Adam, what are your nitrates at? You said you've got very high phosphates. What's your ratio of nitrates to phosphates?
Tested today, nitrates were at 40 and phosphates were at 0.63.
So what's that come out to the ratio wise? I don't have a
5 to 1, 6 to 1. approximately 6 to 7 to 1. Yeah.
Because you should be shooting for like 100 to 1, typically, nitrates to phosphates. So there could be an imbalance there. I mean, man, you got some very high nitrates and very high phosphates.
Yeah, nitrates have been coming up over the last couple months. I think when I originally emailed you, Keith, I looked back and they were about 20. So since we connected, they've gone up. They've doubled.
The nitrates have doubled to 40 now.
The nitrates have doubled. Yep, up to
And
40.
what your phosphates are? What 0.6?
0.6. They fluctuate. I try to keep them under 1 generally. I have the growth problem that Neil had as well, regardless of the nitrate levels. You can see corals laying in the sand. That needs to be given away at some point. But so that didn't slow me down. But yeah, my phosphate's always been up. I try to keep it under 1 with lanthanum. I try not to go too low because it doesn't bind at a certain level. It kind of stops being effective and gets on the glass and things.
I mean, I would say just from my time doing some ICP analysis for fauna marine, there's a few factors that they believe cause cyano. One is the nitrate to phosphate ratio. You should be as close to 100 to 1 as possible. And then it's the halogens. I mentioned this before about dinos, but for cyano, if your iodine goes below 0.05 and your fluoride drops below 1 and your bromide is below 70, then if all 3 of those things are happening, then that also could be a reason why you're getting cyano. Do you know off the top of your head what your ICPs are for those halogens?
Oh, I can find what I sent you the results here.
You sent me the results. Okay.
Yep, I can find them pretty quick though. I got it right here.
The way I look at it is that by looking at the reef tank, to have a reef tank like that, I don't even care about if they have some cyano.
Yeah, right. This cyano is like it's not coating everything there, Adam.
Yeah, there's just there's one or 2 spots where it really bothers me. I have a Bill Murray over here, right there, and it's got about a chunk like that right in the middle of it. It just sits there, and the coral doesn't kill it. It doesn't kill the coral, but there's this one patch right in the middle of that colony, and it sits right below an MP60. So it gets blasted every day with some high flow, and you'll see it peel off, and then the next day the mat's back. It's just like on repeat. So the manual removal's happening. The flow is there generally. You can see the anemone moving around a little bit. Maybe I need. I see you got Alex coming up in a couple months. Maybe I need some Abyss pumps in here or something.
Well, if I were you, I would just blast off that piece of cyano and put another piece of coral on that spot. Yeah.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah. So
yeah, listen, I mean, if it's not a persistent thing, I mean, is it a seasonal thing? Because a lot of times it'll happen in the spring and the fall.
Yeah, that's where it used to be like that. I kind of accepted the spring, especially. I think all the pollen, that seems to be a running theory, a mind story that the pollen gets into the house, the organics go up, and cyano starts to bloom. But no, this has just been persistent. It's been driving me nuts. I'm surprised, Dong. Your first thing wasn't feed less, get rid of some fish, as far as the organics and everything. But
because I try to jam as much fish as possible in my tank, even though this tank doesn't. You don't see too much fish because they're sleeping. They're supposed to be go to sleep right now. I just keep the light on. So the way I look at it is I try to put as much fish as possible because they're the best fertilizer for coral.
Yeah, I was dosing ammonia for a while as well until the nitrates kind of came up, and I stopped that because maybe that was feeding the cyano as well, but
the
not sure. But yeah, same theory.
Feed the cyano a lot more effective than phosphate. When you have a high nitrate, the cyano proportionally just go up the population. Yeah.
But
so,
have you done it?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Dong. I was going to just go ahead. Yeah, you first.
This tank today I tested phosphate 0.5. The whole system 0.5 ppm phosphate, 10 ppm nitrate.
Oh wow! So
The
your
coral grow
ratio is
like
much.
gangbuster. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And well, I got a candy cane colony from Neil, and I put it into my 3 ppm phosphate experimental tank. 3 ppm, and that candy cane, the head, immediately double in size, become jelly, fat and floaty. I take a photo and send it back to Neil. Said, look at your candy cane in my tank. 3 ppm phosphate with 25 ppm nitrate, and those all my LPS is just like jellos, all puffed up and nice and grow like nuts.
I appreciate these cyano suggestions, but on that topic, I had an algae problem in here for a long time, and it was this awful hair algae that was huge and would, get 6, 8, 12 inches long, flow in the flow just like crazy, and couldn't find anything to eat it. Phosphates, nitrate 0, of course, because the algae's gobbling it all up. And I can't find a speck of algae in here now that my phosphates and nitrates are so high, right? There's nothing aside from some film on the walls. The fish, the crabs, the urchins, everything gobbles it up. But, if there's people out there that are still worried about algae with nutrients, I think got a pretty good use case there that sometimes the corals like a little bit of phosphate, in my experience. I know, Keith, you've got beautiful colors and beautiful corals in your tank. I know you run much lower, but I don't seem to have that.
Yes, you are.
I don't have a lot of fish.
Correct. Yeah. Go ahead, Keith.
I was going to say a couple of things, couple of questions. Have you added any particular additives, during that time you've had the cyano that potentially might be a cause? Have you done any treatments to the system that could have thrown off the balance of the tank? And then the other question I had is what's your maintenance routine?
So I did put in not long ago a calcium reactor. So that was a change from 2-part. And that caused a little bit of a phosphate battle. I had to dial up the lanthanum when I put new media in until my theory is that media had to leach out some phosphates, and eventually that seemed to go away.
Lanthanum?
I'm a big lanthanum guy. Yep. So that's my main phosphate control. Don't have mechanical filtration. Don't run carbon, which is maybe something I should, but I run ozone primarily is my water clarity device. So the calcium reactor was one of the big changes in the last year that went in. As far as other additives, the only other thing I really add I've been doing it for a while. Joe Waiulo turned me on to ESV transition elements. So I've got that dripping in here every morning. It's a pretty low amount of it, but that, from Champion Lighting Supply. So make sure you get that in there. But that's it. It's a very simple setup beyond that. No GFO. Yeah, there you go. I just met Bob at Reef Retreat. Back to Reef Retreat. What a great guy. Yeah. Great products.
Bob Stark is awesome.
Bob Stark. Yeah. ESV.
Big time. So, and I do 5 gallons a day water change with Instant Ocean, just plain old Instant Ocean salt.
Oh, same here. Instant Ocean.
Love it. Just works.
I used to use it. The only problem, my complaint is it's freaking dirty. And it also, the parameters do, tend to change batch to batch.
Magnesium's a little low for me, so that is something a little abnormal. My magnesium's usually closer to 1200. So from the IO is a little lower on mag. Yeah.
That's why I use a Reef Crystal. The purple bucket definitely has a QC issue. The fluctuation, because every time I open the bucket, I test the parameter. So I see that I also asked my customers, friends, and the people who use purple bucket, and ask them what the parameter is. The purple bucket, the fluctuation is up and down. Sometimes it looks exactly like Reef Crystal. Sometimes it's really crappy. The worst bucket I've seen for the purple bucket is 900 magnesium.
Wow.
900. Oh, that bad. That's why I stick to Reef Crystal. Because so far, for all these years, I've been using Reef Crystal, very consistent. Magnesium is around 1350. So
Oh wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I did
so-
reef crystals for a while. I think the alkalinity was a little high for my taste at the time. With the method I was using with 2-part, trying to drive it up was difficult. But I've been on Instant Ocean for probably 2.5 years now. Yeah, shilling for Champion Lighting and Supply as well. ChampionLightingandSupply.com. What a great sponsor. Todd's a great guy.
Todd is
Todd
the
at Reef Retreat
best.
too.
Yep,
What an
Todd is a
amazing
good-
guy.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
a great guy.
Yeah,
Actually,
Yeah.
I still have my favorite lens
the
port.
lens port.
Yep, I
Yeah.
use it every day, and sometimes I just take out this filter to take a photo like this. But that is really a good thing. I think that they should come up with the lens port for like the Micro Four Thirds lens, not
yeah.
as big as the DSLR, but it's much skinnier lens. Yeah, I want to try that if they have.
So Adam, I don't know if you you looked up those ICPs, but you might want to just keep that stuff in mind in terms of what I was suggesting.
Yeah, iodine 0.07
Okay.
was
Oh,
what it
wow.
measured at, and then bromine 85.3.
What's your fluoride?
I don't actually see fluoride on this one. This is a Faunamarin.
Yeah, Faunamarin, but they should test the fluoride separately, right? For
Well, you
Faunamarin.
got there's a total reef ICP, and then there's just a reef ICP. So you get more parameters with the total reef.
Must not have done that. I went with the cheap one, I guess, because I don't see it on here. Do those two feel good to you, Keith, or is that?
Yeah, the iodine and
the iodine
bromine
0.7 what ppm?
0.07.
0.07. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Milligrams
okay,
per
okay.
liter.
Yeah, that's good.
because the the natural seawater about 0.08.
And the bromine sounded good. I mean, it might be a little on the high side, but 85 is pretty good. But yeah, the fluoride might be something you want to test if you got the test kit that has the additional test parameters. But yeah, man, I think you know, you got a kick-ass looking reef tank behind you.
Yeah.
If you only got a few patches of cyano, I wouldn't freak out about it. I think a lot of times people, you know, we as reef keepers get a little too caught up in just like the tank not being perfect the way we want to see it. I hear you though, man. Cyano can be frustrating, like, you know, crazy shit frustrating, like making you want to pull your hair out. It's hard to understand, you know, but I'd also look at the your ratio of nitrates to phosphates. I know you have high nitrates, you have high phosphates, but if you kind of get closer to that 100-to-1 ratio, then I think your tank will be in better balance. Because right now it sounds like that ratio is pretty low.
Yeah, I got to drop the phosphate. It could go down a little bit. I'm not, not
Yeah,
chasing it too much, but
you're a brave man using lanthanum chloride.
Once again, Rich Ross, Reef Beef. I know you got him on in a couple months here. Man, I feel so privileged. We're sandwiched between legends. You had Carrie and Vincent on. Met them at Reef Tree, great people. You got Rich and Joe and Alex coming on. So
yeah,
but yeah, just right into the skimmer body. Drilled a hole in the lid, rigid line right to the middle of the skimmer. Run it in the skimmer, set fail safe. So if skimmer's off, lanthanum stops, things like that. And that seems to do pretty well. I've got lots of tangs and angels, and run a high amount of lanthanum that's diluted, so it drips in 24 hours a day. And it's been pretty reliable.
One thing I will say, Don, I'll let me just interject this one point here is for people that are watching that might think like, oh, okay, just do a chemi-clean treatment and you'll be fine. Get rid of the cyano, or do whatever the other cyano treatment. Don't do that. Please don't
do that.
Resort to that, because that's going to really fuck things up. I mean, excuse my French there, but that's going to really cause a lot more issues than what you already got there. So don't go to the chemical route. I think that's something that we're all very much in agreement on, is like when you start messing with that stuff for a quick fix, then you're just really asking for a lot more trouble. So don't go crazy and try to snuff it out, especially since it doesn't seem to be that big of an issue for you.
Yeah,
the
I
first
learned the
thing I would
lesson
do
on
is
chemical in my last
the
tank.
first thing
yeah,
I would
so
do
big
is put a small piece of live rock right in at that spot on your Bill Marie. That's right. Put a small piece of live rock there. Suck up the cyano. Put a small piece of live rock there. So if the cyano does not cover that small piece of live rock at that spot, put a coral in there.
That's not
So
a bad
if
idea.
that, if that small piece of live rock also covered with cyano, that you really need to look into that spot. I would just gouge the rock to see what's underneath. There may be there's some sort of, for example, when the cement was mixed, they probably a pocket of phosphate in there. It's possible because that is what the cement is, calcium phosphate. And then there's maybe that spot has some other dirty stuff trapped there that's slowly leaching out. Is a nutrient source. Yeah. But look at the reef tank behind you. I won't bother with, it's just a small thing.
The other thing, I don't think we've mentioned this, but it's an obvious one, is you could also potentially increase the flow in that area.
Well, that's what I was thinking when Dong just said glue a rock, and if it grows over the new rock, environmental of some sort, right? If the flow is not hitting that very well or something, the patch is so close to that MP60 that it might be right in that zone below the flow plume where it's going over it, not really blasting that spot well, perhaps.
Yeah.
It's got that little vortex right below. So that's a fair thought too for that specific case. The sand bed, I'd expect that's low flow down there maybe, but that's really interesting. The other thing I was thinking was just a bigger skimmer. I've only got the Reef Octopus Regal 250 for
that tank that big,
300 gallons. So
that might be pretty undersized.
Yeah, very undersized for that. Yeah.
All right, Todd, I'll be giving you a call when you get a bigger skimmer.
Yeah.
Next year project.
Or maybe you can get 2 skimmers. Instead of replacing your current skimmer, you just add another one in your sump.
I've never
Use
seen
a different
that.
brand. Oh, actually, the double skimmer, I used to have. When I have room, I have 2 skimmers. So the 2 different brands of skimmer, 2 different brands of pump, because they create different bubble size. So you already have
redundancy too.
Yeah. So the 2 skimmer actually is more effective than a single bigger skimmer. 2 smaller skimmer is outperform.
Never thought about that.
Yeah, 1 single bigger skimmer. Yeah. And that's what we do. So just keep your current skimmer and add another one. Do you have a refugium?
No.
Good. I'm not a big fan.
I think I rattled off everything. I don't think I have anything else here. Calcium reactor, I do dose a little bit of Kalk. Yeah.
Why no mechanical filtration?
I haven't run it in this tank or the last tank, so might be something. I'm a little sad. There's a lot of particulate in there, but yeah, just a pain in the butt. I'm lazy. I think that's probably the simplest answer.
The other thing, Don, what do you think about a coral snow treatment? I mean, I've done those before and I stopped doing because I just didn't think it helped the situation. But have you tried those, Adam?
I did a while ago. Yeah, that was, oh boy, that was back when it was kind of seasonal, and I tried it a couple times when somebody mentioned it on some show. I haven't tried it recently. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Dong.
I think it's pretty effective. But the thing is, by looking at your reef tank, I won't do any full tank adjustment. I just treat that spot first. If it doesn't work, and then you can think about the coral snow. And I think well, just my personal preference, I think your phosphate is fine, but your nitrate is kind of high for my taste.
Vinegar or vodka? What are your
Vodka, because I can drink it.
one for me, one for the tank?
Exactly. One shot for the tank, one shot for me. Vinegar. No, you cannot do that. But in terms of efficiency, the vodka actually probably more efficient than the vinegar, because the vodka is 40%, right? 80 proof.
Mm-hmm.
Your vinegar is 5%. And
Yeah,
also vinegar,
if things keep trending up, I'll probably dial back down my feeding a little bit first. But if things keep trending up, I'll definitely vodka or vinegar. That's usually my go-to. So vodka this time, I guess I'll give it a shot. I saw you threw up Telegram's comment there. I don't have a chiller, but I see what he's saying, that anything with baffles or maybe heaters or something like that might be holding some funk.
Yeah, do you clean
for
your
matter of fact, in terms of chiller, that phosphate factory saying, I do seen it before. Just in that case, the guy have a high phosphate. Try everything, every freaking thing, until he unplugged the chiller. And I don't know what exactly happened to the chiller, but that, according to him, the coil is not true titanium. And it seems like that the metal leaching from the coil is killing off some of the bacterial or whatever organism in the tank and continually creating phosphate and nitrate.
Interesting. Well, I don't have a chiller, but I do have.
But check your magnet.
Magnets.
Especially your
magnets.
MP60. Yes. That MP60. So how? When was the last time you changed the wet side?
These are brand new. So I just got these from Todd at
right.
championlightingandsupply.com.
Okay, good.
Thanks for that
I don't
plug
know,
again.
Todd. Yeah, 4 months ago maybe. So they're all new.
Okay, yeah.
I did have MP40s in before that were older. But there's other magnets, right? I mean, there's return pumps.
Yeah.
There's frag holders. There's a lot of other, dosing tube holders that are magnetic. So there are a lot of other magnets in here. I could probably give that a round of checks just to make sure there's nothing goofy there.
Especially return pump. Because of a return pump, what I found out is that, so for example, the return pump, the big magnet, the rotor. So basically, there's a ceramic shaft on all the return pump on their 2 ceramic shoes on each end, right? So the magnet is supposed to be suspended in the mid-water. But when it gets old, when the detritus spill up or sand gets sucked in, and that magnet actually gets scratched up, then the Teflon coating will be gone and exposing the bare magnet in the water.
It's like a CNC machine just scraping off the magnet and sand gets stuck in there or something.
Sand stuck in there. It's just like shaving off metal on your big magnet.
Hey, Adam, one last question for you from me. What's your sump looking like, man? Do you siphon detritus out of that thing? And
I don't. No, my sump looks pretty gross, full of mulm, full of garbage, detritus, things like that. It's been there for 4 years untouched.
You gotta start thinking about, hey, what's happening there, buddy? That might be something to think about.
Okay.
Getting that sump in order.
You going to bed, bud? All right, have a good night.
But I don't want you to. I don't want to tell you to suck all the detritus out of there, and then it's going to crash your tank. I would do it maybe in little spurts.
Okay, well, that might be something to try too. I don't know if that's contributing to the phosphate necessarily. Maybe
both.
It's something I don't do. That I assume, Keith, you keep yours tidy.
Oh yeah, I siphon my every water change. I'll siphon out what I can of my my sump. I mean, and I'm not like Steve Wiest, who basically every water change wipes his sump clean. It looks brand new, and it's amazing. I mean, I've had him on.
Well,
my
actually,
show
I want to show you one thing.
Steve is a really cool guy. I've talked to him once or twice. And,
he's the best.
He is insane with the amount of cleanliness and everything. That's just next level.
What's that,
What do we
Tom?
got here?
That is a magnetic retriever. So it has a magnet here. Run it through your thumb. Sometimes you'll be surprised what this thing actually take up. I pick up a razor blade. Yes,
Really?
in my thumb. You bury in the detritus.
Ew.
Yeah.
I did find tongs floating in there one day. So yeah, you're probably, that's a good idea. It is an open
Yeah,
top and
so
it's
that-
not under my tank. It's out in the middle of a room. So lots of opportunity for things to get knocked in there for sure. That's a good idea. I like that. Give that a shot.
All right, so let's bring on everybody now at the same time so we could all say
Yeah, thanks, guys.
sayonara together. But yeah, thanks, Adam, man, for sharing all of that stuff, and everybody. Thank you guys so much for coming on the show. This is probably not an easy thing to do to like air your dirty laundry, so to speak. But we I don't know, Doug. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, it is. Actually, the next time we should do a longer segment for each guest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, guys. I just wanted to say thanks for coming on again, and thanks for being frank with us about what you guys are facing. Hopefully, we provided some constructive advice. Hopefully, some of the viewers did as well. I saw some really great suggestions and comments in the chat. So this was very cool. I think this is something we're gonna have to do, on a regular basis, Dong. Fight hobbyists on and help troubleshoot some issues and stuff. Very refreshing show. Refreshing show.
Great
Anybody
to meet all
have any
these other
last-
cool guys too.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let me also thank the sponsors one more time. And Polo Reef. Boy, they got a lot going on there, Polo Reef, don't they? Make sure to check out their latest videos, Polo Reef on YouTube. The rebuild of the 17,000-gallon reef keeps moving forward, and the team has been putting in some serious work. Patty and Michelle are back in the water, placing new corals from top shelf aquatics, rebuilding parts of the reef, moving colonies around, and trying to bring the vision for the tank back to life, one piece at a time. Hey, Neil, maybe you should donate some corals to Polo Reef. I'm sure they could
He's going to keep
Sure,
them in
we-
quarantine for about 6 months.
gladly take them. Of course, it wouldn't be Polo Reef without a few surprises along the way. The team runs into equipment issues, tracks down pests, and even has to deal with a leak and flooding situation that turns into another unexpected challenge. If you enjoy seeing really what goes on behind the scenes of a large reef system, these are definitely episodes you don't want to miss. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to @Polo Reef on YouTube so you don't miss any of the new videos when they drop. And then finally, Todd at Champion Lighting Supply and the rest of the folks there. Fiji Live Rock is back. Yes, Wild Harvested Live Rock is back. Champion Lighting now offers cured Bucani, branch, and shelf rock from Fiji, as well as cured Indo Live Rock. People, get the Live Rock. I know, Greg Carroll, you love the dry rock. I love the Live Rock, but we could
Me
always
too.
debate.
I love the live rock.
Yeah, but listen, people have great luck with the dry rock. I don't want to get into the whole dry rock, live rock thing again, but live rock kicks ass, in my opinion.
It does. It
Um,
does.
Yeah.
Use coupon code ReefBum and get 15% off your next rock purchase. Visit championlighting.com to order. I want to thank the moderators, Paul, who is also a president of the Boston Reefers Society, as well as Greg Carroll, who is the president of the Southern California Marine Aquarium Society. Please join and support your local reefing clubs. They are so important to this hobby. So important that we're actually going to have them, we're going to have an upcoming show about it. I also want to know that all episodes of Rappin' With ReefBum are available as podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Amazon. Our next Rappin' With ReefBum live stream will be on Tuesday, July 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our guests will be Paul, Greg, Andrew, Joe, Brandy. These are all folks that are part of reefing clubs. So we're going to be talking about reefing clubs, digging deep into them and how important they are. So until then, next time, be safe and be well. Later.